Welcome back to Data to Decisions. Very common scenario in this video where if you have on one side, you have the orders or the transactions where you have the products that are being sold by your company. You know the which product, you know how many are sold in that one single order, and then the sales price, how much you sold the product to your customer at. So for example, here, the first order has two products, different quantities, and then the different sales amounts. And then similarly, the second order and so on. So this is your order transaction or the order detail data, goods or cost of that sale at a product level in a separate table where we know the cost to produce the product A is 10, B is 12, and so on. So now that you have these two things, how can we create a report like this, which shows the profitability by each product? And you can now take decisions like which products are more profitable? How do I, you know, push the sales of those products or identify the products which are actually less profitable and then take decisions around fine tuning the product or even removing or not promoting those products because it's not giving you the profit that you were expecting. So all those can be done using simple Excel formulas, and that's what we will cover in today's video. Let's get started. The new worksheet where we will start entering the formulas. The first thing before entering the formulas would be to convert our source data into tables as highly recommended, which is something that we do in every single exercise. We will select the values in the first table, which is the order table. So I'm going to press Control T and hit OK. And I'm going to call this order details. And then I'm going to select the second table, and then press Control T and hit OK. And this is the cost. So I'm going to call it cost. Now, let's start writing our first formula. I'm going to calculate or provide a distinct list of products that we're going to create a report for. So we will use the unique function and we will select the product values. So you'll see that the formula puts it as order details product. Again, that's the benefit of doing it via tables and giving a table and then having the proper names. It's a little bit easier to follow formula. So I'm going to close parenthesis and it'll give me ABC. Great, no problem. Now let's do a quantity, which is again, these are relatively straightforward until we get to the cost of goods, which is a little bit more work, and the sales as well. So let's do the quantity. So the quantity sold for each product will be, I can do a sum if, because all I need is to sum the quantity column where the product equals A. So do sum if, and the range that I want to check for is this product column, comma, what is my criteria? K7, which is where my value of the product name is, comma, what do I want to, so I'm selecting quantity. Close parenthesis, hit OK. And now you can drag this, or I like to do select all the values, go to edit and control enter. Again, I think you may prefer the just dragging by double clicking. That works fine. The one thing I want to change in this formula right now would be, I don't want the zeros to appear here. I can go into at the beginning of the formula and say if the product, the K7 equals a blank, then give me blank as return. Otherwise, calculate the sum. And the same thing, I'll select this and I'll do F2 to edit, control enter. So that gives me clean output. Great, so far good. So if I look at the total here, I have 21 is the total, and then I have 21 here. So everything is good. Now let's calculate the sales amount. So there are many ways to do this. So I'm going to use the filter function first and say, okay, let me use the filter function and select the quantity, multiply. So I'm going to use the asterisk to multiply the sales price. So what this does is to multiply the quantity and the sales for every single row, but I want to filter only to the rows where the product is A. So now I will do comma. What is my filtering condition? I'm going to select the product column equals the cell K7, which is the product value. So close parenthesis and hit enter. And now it tells me 40, 20, 100. I know that the output is not accurately representing for each product, but so far we are only doing it for one product A. So for product A, you have 2 times 20, that is 40, and then 1 times 20, which is 20, and then 5 times 20, which is 100. So these three rows are being correctly multiplied and then displayed here. So far everything is good. We just have to make sure that we have to do it for only one product and sum it up. So I'm going to go here, the beginning of my formula, and do a wraparound with sum. Just don't give me each and every row, just sum this up for me. Give me 160. So now I get it for one product. I can, just like before, select all the values, to go into the edit mode, control enter these values. So of course, we only have three products. So let me go back into the formula and say if A7 equals blank, give me blank, otherwise this. Now select all of it, F2, control enter. So now that we are done with the hard part of calculating the total sales by product, the cost of goods, if the design is like this, it's a little bit simpler because all I have to do is to say, find out, which I'm going to use the XLOOKUP function and say K7, which is where I say product is A, and then go and find it in my cost table, and then bring me back the cost values. So the XLOOKUP says, it tries to find the value A in the list of products and gives me back the cost associated with product A. Nice and simple. Okay, so it says the cost of product A is 10. But I want to know the total cost for all the sales that was done for product A. So I'm going to multiply this by our quantity, which we already calculated. So this will tell me the total cost of goods for product A is 80. So I can, once again, I can expand it to the other products. But before I do that, because I've learned from my previous formulas, I'm going to say if K7 equals blank, give me blank, otherwise give me this result. I will select all the values, F2, control enter, gives me the total cost of goods, which is 301, which is the total. How do I know the total? I'm looking at the bottom bar here, but what we will do is to write a simple sum function, which sums up these values. And just like I do the control enter by going down, I can also do right side. I select all the values and edit, control enter. There we go. We have all of them total. Profit is 0, which is not good. We need to calculate the profit. Let's do a simple again. If product is blank, don't give me anything. But if it is not, then take the sales amount minus the cost of goods. Close parenthesis. And same thing, select all the values, F2 to edit mode, control enter to apply the formula to all the cells. There we have it. Our profit is 169. The cost of goods is 301. The total sales amount is 470. A nice little report all done, which is very dynamic. If the cost changes, of course, if the cost changes over time, it's a completely different data model that we'll have to talk about. But let's say if you want to enter a new order. So order 8 for product A. Again, let's enter the data and then see how it reacts. I know that there's an error here. That's because we didn't do any if errors to handle these errors. But let's assume in this case, the data is coming through with A as the product. And for product A, we have 10 more quantity ordered and we sold it at 20. So now our sales amount has gone from 470 to 670 because we sold 200 more dollars or 200 more currency of sales. And then the cost of goods, you see that that is increased to 401 from 301, and the profit increased also. So everything seems to be working the way we want it, accommodating the changes in data. And I didn't have to change any of the formulas when you added more data. So it's a very dynamic report, which is, uh, you know, great when your data could be changing, meaning you're going to update data by copying and pasting it from another place. using these new Excel formulas that you can create such dynamic report. If you have any suggestions to improve this further, please let me know. If you have better methods, I look forward to learning from you. And if you have any suggestions for another topic for the next video, please use the comment section. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.